Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Sutra-56. You are beyond the mind. Bhuvanadvadirupena chintayet kramashokilam sthula sukshma parastitya yavadante manolayaha. Bring the universe to the mind. The universe is the expression of one reality. Let the mind dwell on this reality. Let the universe dissolve from the gross to the subtle and from the subtle into the reality. At the end is the dissolution of the mind. The Sutras 54 to 58 are very abstract and deep. They need deep contemplation over a prolonged period. It is not just about understanding the sutra and jumping into a practice. However, if we have the knowledge of the sutras, we can contemplate on them. The contemplation itself is dharana. Let us first understand what the knowledge can do for us. Knowledge is about both the subject and the object. The first step is the objective knowledge. For example, this is a pot is the objective knowledge. We use our senses and mind to obtain this objective knowledge. The mind is illuminated with this knowledge. The objective knowledge involves attributes. For example, to obtain knowledge of a rose flower, you understand its attributes such as color, shape, smell, etc. The attributes are visualized as names and forms, nama and rupa. This gives us the knowledge of a rose. Now, we can recognize a rose anywhere in the creation. The knowledge of the ultimate reality is also approached this way. Firstly, the reality is understood through attributes. This is tatastha lakshanam. For example, Bhairava is understood as the one with such and such a form. In the beginning, Bhairavi addressed Bhairava as Devadeva Trishulanka Krita Kapala Bhushana. This is Tatastha Lakshanam. But this form is not the ultimate reality of Bhairava. The Shastram says that Bhairava is the formless reality. Hence, in the second step, the names and forms are dropped. When names and forms are dropped, that which remains is Swarupa Lakshanam. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Anandam, etc. are Swarupa Lakshanam. If you drop all the names and forms in the creation, that which remains is the Swarupa Lakshanam alone. We call this as Satyam, Jnanam and Anantam. This becomes the essence of the creation. From this point of view, you see oneness in the creation. So, the Tatastha Lakshanam points us towards the Swarupa Lakshanam. This becomes knowledge. This knowledge becomes a vritti in the mind. The vritti illumines the mind with this knowledge. This is the first step in the process. The next step is to understand the nature of this illumination itself. This is the illuminator of the knowledge. When there is knowledge of a pot, we say, I know the pot. But who is this I? Who is this I who knows this pot? The I is the illuminator. The illuminator is not an object. It is the very subject. Everything else we know in our lives is illumined by this alone. The illuminator is beyond attributes. It cannot be known through any attributes. No pramanam can reach it. Neither the mind nor the senses can reach this illuminator. The Shastram says this is your own Swarupam. In the first step, you understand the rose flower through different attributes such as smell, color, size and shape. These are the individual attributes that make up the rose flower. But what is behind these attributes? From where did the attributes appear? If we understand the source of the attributes get resolved in the source. Similarly, go beyond the object attributes to know the illuminator. You will recognize the supreme reality. This supreme reality is Bhairava. Bhairava is this infinite consciousness. Bhairava does not have any attributes. Attributes will limit Bhairava. How can the infinite be limited? The senses and mind can go only to the extent of the attributes. Bhairava is beyond attributes. The senses and mind cannot reach Bhairava. This is the realization. Firstly, it is about knowledge, and secondly, it is about realization. It is that consciousness alone which is the reality. The attributes are ignorance. In our ignorance, we divide the reality into parts. This is the illusion of duality. How can the infinite be divided into parts? Even if you think you can divide infinite into parts, every part will continue to remain infinite. Correct? The division or the duality is the play of the mind. Let the mind dissolve in this realization. This is the essence of this sutra. The consciousness is the illuminator. This is the single truth. Nothing illuminates the consciousness. The consciousness illumines everything else. The Shastram says that it is your ignorance because of which you see plurality or divisions. Even the ignorance is illumined by the consciousness. Otherwise, how will you know the ignorance? Look at the sun. There is only one sun that is shining above our head. If there are 1000 mirrors reflecting the sun, you will see 1000 individual suns, one sun in every mirror. This cannot be the truth. The sun is always one. The one single truth appears as many. The many that we perceive in the creation is an illusion. In the world where we live, there is only one sun. If the sun disappears, the entire world will die in an instant. This is samhara or pralaya. The same sun is available for every individual in the world. If the sun withdraws from the individual will die. This is the nature of the sun. The illuminating consciousness is similar. It illumines the universe. The universe is described as Bhuvanam in the Sutra. Bhuvana advadi rupena chintayet. The Bhuvanam is illumined by this consciousness. Every atom of this Bhuvanam is pervaded by this consciousness. This consciousness is Bhairava. The Bhuvanam is only names and forms which are attributes. The attributes are many, like thousands of sun reflection seen in thousands of mirrors, whereas the sun is only one. The one infinite consciousness appears to be the many and appears as the Bhuvanam. The Bhuvanam is an illusion of names and forms. The Bhuvanam is ignorance. Removing the ignorance is the only solution. Let the mind dwell on the illuminating consciousness alone. Let the names and forms of the universe dissolve one in the other, from the gross to the subtle, and from the subtle into the reality. The end is the dissolution of the mind. In Sutra-56, Bhairavi questions Bhairava. How can the infinite coexist with the finite? Is it not an illusion? Nahi varnabedena dehabedena vabhavet paratvam nishkalatvena sakalatvena tadbhavet. The illuminating consciousness is Bhairava. Bhairava is Chit Swarupa. Knowing this Chit Swarupa is Vishesha Jñānam. The moonlight we see is both known and unknown to us. It is known to us as moonlight and not as sunlight. The moonlight is Samana Jñānam and sunlight is Vishesha Jñānam. Ordinarily, our knowledge is Samanya Jñānam and not Vishesha Jñānam. The sunlight remains hidden from our awareness when we look at the moon. The consciousness remains hidden from us when we experience the Bhuvanam. Every atom of the Bhuvanam is the reflection of the consciousness. Know the consciousness as Vishesha Jñānam. The Bhuvanam does not have independent existence. This is the message in the sutra. In Sutra 8, Bhairava says, I am this hidden secret. I am hidden deep in your heart. Let me tell you about this secret. Guhaniyatam badre tatapi katayamite yatkinchit sakalam rupam Bhairavasya prakirtitam. In Sutra 9, Bhairava continues to say, Devi, the creation is only names and forms. Names and forms are not the ultimate reality. Know the foundation on which they exist. Know that independent reality which is the Adhara for the Bhuvanam. If the Adhara is not recognized, the names and forms can trap the person in an illusion like the city of the Gandharvas. Tadasarataya Devi Vijñēyam Shakrajalavat Maya Swapnopanam Chaiva Gandharva Nagarabramam. The Bhuvanam is an illusion. It will trap you in the never-ending cycle of samsara. Bhairava says again, you cannot know me through any means. I cannot be known through any upaya or sadhana. Sadhanas are discussed only to prepare the mind to receive the teaching. The mind cannot know Bhairava. Bhairava is beyond the mind. Bhairava is about realization and not attainment. Liberation is realization and not attainment. Liberation is here and now. Let us now go into the sutra further. Bhuvanadvadi rupena chintayet kramashokilam. Bhuvana advadi rupena chintayet kramashaha akilam. Bhuvanam is the universe. Akilam, the entire universe. Kramasha chintayet. Meditate on the Bhuvanam in steps. How? Advadi rupena. Advadi or Advan means 6 paths. Meditate on the Bhuvanam through the 6 paths. Let us inquire into Bhuvanam and Advan mentioned in the sutra. Firstly, let us begin with Bhuvanam and later discuss Advan. The Bhuvanam must be visualized in the mind. Asmin bhutani iti Bhuvanam. Bhuvanam means the entire universe where all the bhutas exist. The Shastram says what is inside is what is outside. Yat pinde tat brahmande. The individual is Pindam. Brahmandam is the universe. The Pindam is Brahmandam. The Pindam is included in the Brahmandam. The Brahmandam is the Bhuvanam. The Brahmandam is visualized in a human form as the Purusha. The Purusha is the cosmic personality. The sadhaka must visualize this cosmic personality in the mind. The sadhaka must understand the nature of the Purusha in the buddhi and meditate in the hridaya. The Purusha is the universal body, the Brahmanda Deha. This is the totality, Sarva Prani Samashti Rupa. This Purusha has infinite heads, eyes, noses and feet. This means that every individual in the universe is part of Purusha. The eyes, nose, head, feet, etc. of every individual is that of the Purusha. Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat. The head of the Purusha represents Sankalpa. The eyes represent the all-knowing nature, and legs represent the movement, which is Vyavahara. The Shatapatha Brahmanam says that Sahasrara represents the supreme reality. Sahasrara also means Sakala, infinity. This is the nature of the Purusha. All that happens in the universe is because of the Purusha alone. The Purusha fills everything in the Bhuvanam, like how the salt fills the entire ocean. Purusha Purayati, Purusha Vyapnoti. The individual in the creation is also an aspect of the Purusha. The cosmic Purusha pervades every individual. Yeta Vanasya Mahima. When we visualize the cosmic Purusha in this way, we must bring the visualization to the level of the individual. The Purusha appears as the Bhuvanam, the universe, but the Purusha is also beyond the Bhuvanam. The Bhuvanam is just 1/4 or a quarter of the Purusha. The remaining 3/4 of the Purusha are beyond the Bhuvanam. The Bhuvanam is Dhyav, Antariksham and Prithvi. Dhyav is the sky or the heavens, and Antariksham the mid-regions, and Prithvi is all that is below. The Purusha pervades all the three regions like how salt pervades the ocean. The Bhuvanam is the manifested part of the Purusha, which is just a quarter of the Purusha. This is the manifested universe. This shows us how insignificant the Bhuvanam is. The Bhuvanam is subjected to creation and destruction. The Bhuvanam goes through Shad Vikaras or 6 changes between creation and destruction. Asti, Jayate, Vardate, Viparinamate, Apakshiyate, Vinashayati. In the womb, then it is born. It grows, it changes, it ages and dies. These are Shadvikaras. This is the nature of the Bhuvanam. All that we experience is only the 1/4 of the Purusha. The 1/4 of Purusha is the Namarupa prapancha. The Namarupa prapancha undergoes creation and destruction again and again. This is the nature of Bhuvanam. What about the other 3/4 of the Purusha? 1/4 is the creation that has manifested and subject to never-ending cycle of creation and destruction. The next 3/4 of Purusha is unmanifest. How do we understand this? Let us understand this from the individual point of view. In our lives, we are used to operating only in the waking state to achieve our life goals. This is one plane of the consciousness. Ordinarily, we operate in this 1/4. Then we have the dream state, the sleep state, and the state that is beyond the 3 states. That which is beyond all the 3 states is Turiyam. Turiyam is the transcendental consciousness, which is really not a state. Turiyam is evident in every state like how salt is evident in the entire ocean. Similarly, what Purusha expresses is only 1/4. This quarter is Bhuvanam. The Bhuvanam itself is so huge that we know only a fragment of it, correct? Even this 1/4 of the Supreme Purusha is not known to us completely. Where are we in the vastness of this Bhuvanam? At the individual level, we are not even a speck of dust. The other 3/4 of Purusha are Sat, Chit and Ananda. The Purusha is Bhuvanam and at the same time beyond Bhuvanam. The sutra is asking us to turn our attention to the three quarters, Sat, Chit and Ananda. This is the transcendental consciousness. What other example can we give here for our understanding? When you look at the ocean, recognize the all-pervading salt in the ocean. Let your attention be on the salt and not on the ocean. When you look at the ornaments, recognize the gold in them. Let your attention be on the gold, which is independent existence. When you look at the Nama-Rupa Prapancham, let your attention be on the Purusha, the supreme consciousness, and not on the Nama-Rupa Prapancham. Sat, Chit, Ananda is the nature of the other three quarters of the Purusha. Sat, Chit, Ananda pervades the entire creation. This is not visible to the ordinary mind. Nama-Rupa Prapancha alone is visible to the ordinary mind. The Purusha is both the visible and the invisible. The Purusha is both the gross and the subtle. The sutra says, bring the universe to the mind. The universe is the expression of one reality. Let the mind dwell on this reality. Let the universe dissolve from the gross to the subtle and from the subtle into the reality. At the end is the dissolution of the mind. The Purusha shines above the Nama-Rupa Prapancham. The Purusha doesn't have any limitations. The sutra says to recognize the transcendental nature of the Purusha within you. The individual is also the Purusha. The cosmic Purusha pervades the individual. The sadhana is to meditate on this cosmic nature of the Purusha in your heart. The sadhaka must go beyond the uncertain world and beyond the mind to realize the transcendental nature. Without this realization, the individual is caught in the bhuvanam and bound to samsara. It is about realizing the state of turiyam. The turiyam is here and now in the waking state. The other three states automatically resolve in the turiyam. The sutra says, dissolve one into the other. And this means dissolving all into the turiyam. The turiyam alone is the one single reality. This is moksha. Sabhumim vishvato vritva atyadishtad dashangulam. The Vedas say that Purusha is everything and at the same time is 10 angulam away. Angulam is a measurement understood as inches. The Purusha extends across the 10 directions. The entire manifested universe is a part of the Purusha. Yet, the Purusha stays 10 angulam away. The Bhuvanam is Purusha and yet the Purusha is untouched by the Bhuvanam. Purusha is beyond the three sharirams, Sthula, Sukshma and Karana Shariram. Beyond the three avasthas, Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupti. And beyond the three times, past, present and future. Sabhumim vishvato vritva atyatishta dashangulam. Dashangulam or 10 angulam is just a figurative measurement to say that the Purusha is beyond and untouched by anything. This is for the sadhaka to understand the transcendental nature of the cosmic Purusha. The cosmic Purusha is Bhairava. The sadhaka should recognize the transcendental nature of Bhairava in the buddhi and meditate in the heart. The heart is 10 angulam away. From the individual perspective, the hridaya is 10 angulam away from the nabi or the navel. The nabi symbolizes the creation or the bhuvanam and the hridaya the transcendental Purusha. The Purusha is the creation and at the same time is beyond the creation. As I said, The set of sutras 54 to 58 require long periods of contemplation. The Bhashyakaras have done their best to describe the sutra. Still, I have come across people finding it difficult to grasp. I have tried my best to make it simple to the extent possible from my side. I am also aware that I have deviated from the traditional Bhashyakaras in my explanations. However, I can say that I have always kept the Shastram in the perspective. The Pramanam is the Shastram. Now that we have grasped the Bhuvanam and recognized the Purusha in our Buddhi, let us discuss Advadi or Advan mentioned in the Sutra. Bhuvana Advadi Rupena. Advadi or Advan is a way to perceive the reality. The reality can be perceived through various ways. Advan is about 6 ways to perceive the reality. The Advans are Kala, Tattva, Bhuvana, Varna, Pada and Mantra or the 6 Advan. The Shiva Purana says, Kalam Tattvam cha Bhuvanam Varnam Padam Mataha Param. When you inquire into the creation, you must understand it from 2 aspects. The first is the eminent aspect, which is the creation itself. Then there is transcendental aspect, which is from where the creation appeared. There are 2 aspects here, transcendental and eminent. For example, you say this is a pot. The pot is known to us through a word. The word is a shabda that points to the object called pot. The shabda is vachaka and the object is vachya. Hence, there are 2 aspects to the pot, vachaka and vachya. Vachaka and vachya are inseparable. The vachaka is the content of the vachya. We cannot think of an object without a word, isn't it? The word called pot is a shabda. Similarly, we inquire into the nature of the universe. The universe is known to us by words or shabda. The vastness of the universe, the sun, moon, stars, galaxies, man, woman, cow, dog, cat, etc. are known to us through words or nama. The various namas are nothing but shabda. The objects in the universe have rupas. We cannot think of a rupa without a nama, correct? So, there are 2 aspects to the creation. The sound aspect, which is the nama, and the form aspect, which is the rupa. The sound aspect is vachya and the form aspect is vachaka. The sound aspect is the transcendental aspect and the creation is eminent aspect. This is vachya and vachaka. Vachaka is the content of the vachya and both are inseparable. The vachaka aspect is shabda and vachya aspect is creation. Vachya is that which is manifested and vachaka, the shabda, is the source or adhara for the manifestation. For example, when you say the shabda pot, you see its physical manifestation of the object in front of you. The vachaka is manifested as vachya. The vachaka is on the subject side and vachya is on the object side. We should know this to understand Advan mentioned in the sutra. Advan represents a certain order of manifestation. The Shastram discusses 6 orders that make up Advan, which are Kala, Tattva, Bhuvana, Varna, Pada and Mantra, which are 6 Advan. Varna, Pada and Mantra come under Vachaka. Kala Tattva, Bhuvana come under Vachya. Vachaka and Vachya together make up this Advan. Advan has totally 6 orders. In summary, the objective universe is Vachya. Vachya represents the 3 Advan, Kala, Tattva and Bhuvana. The subjective universe is Vachaka. This represents the 3 Advan, Varna, Pada and Mantra. The Vachaka is the observer. The Vachya is that which is observed, the knower and the known. Let us understand this a little more. Firstly, the Vachya, the objective universe, which is 3 Advans, Kala, Tattva and Bhuvanam. Bhuvana is a gross path. In Shiva Siddhanta, it is said that there are 118 Bhuvanams. These are the planes of existences. We exist in one of the Bhuvanams. Tattva is the subtle path. There are 36 Tattvas, which are the elements that make up the Bhuvanam. We have discussed the Tattvas in the previous sutras. Kala are the enclosures for the 36 Tattvas. They are like the boundaries that limit the Tattvas. The Tattvas are contained in the Kala. They are the subtlest. There are 5 Kalas. All these are on the objective side of the creation, the Vachya. The Vachya side has the gross, subtle and subtler aspects. Secondly, Vachaka, the subjective side of the universe, Varna, Pada and Mantra. A string of words that make up a sentence is Pada. Pada is Thulam, gross. Subtler than the Pada are the Mantras, which are the words. Mantras are Sukshmam and are subtler than the Pada. The mantras themselves arise from the Varna or letters. These are the subtlest. This is on the subjective side. Let us go back to the pot example. The objective side of the pot is the manifested pot, which is Vachya. It is Bhuvana, the objective existence. It is made of 36 Tattvas. The Tattvas are limited by Kala. The gross pot is Bhuvana. Tattva and Kala are the other aspects of the pot which are subtle. On the subjective side of the pot is Vachaka. We say, this is a pot. This sentence is Pada. This is the sentence at the gross level. The sentences are made of words. Words are mantra. The mantra is subtler than the Pada. The mantras are made of Varna, which are letters. The Varnas are the subtlest. The combination of subject and object or Vachya and Vachaka make up the pot. The universe too is a combination of subject and object or Vachya and Vachaka. These are the 6 Advans. The Shastram also says that mantra, Pada, Varna, Bhuvana, Tattva and Kala are the 6 Advan which represents the cosmic body of the Purusha. In the universal body of the Purusha, in the form of Advan, Varnadvan is visualized as the skin, Padadvan the head, Tattvadvan the heart, Bhuvanadvan the body hairs, Mantradvan the blood and the bones, and Kaladvan the limbs. The Advan are the 6 paths available to the sadhaka for transcendental realization. Traditionally, Diksha is given to the sadhaka based on the state of the mind on which path to follow. The kind of Diksha depends on a guru. The Dharana is about dissolving the Advan one by one from the gross to the subtle, from the subtle to the subtlest. The sadhaka should be aware of vachaka, vachya and the sixth advan. On the vachya, it is bhuvana, tattva and kala. Bhuvana is sthulam, tattva and kala are sukshmam. On the vachaka, it is pada, mantra and varna. Pada is sthulam, mantra and varna are sukshmam. Bhuvana and pada, which are sthulam, resolve into tattva and mantra, which are sukshmam. Tattva and mantra resolve into kala and varna. When the gross is resolved into the subtle, a stage is reached when there are no differences between the vachya and vachaka. Vachya and vachaka should not be looked upon as two realities, but they are two aspects of one reality. This is Shabda Brahman. Shabda Brahman is the reality. Patanjali calls it as Omkara. Vachaka and Vachya appear from Omkara alone. With this understanding, the sadhaka meditates on Omkara and the mind attains laya in the silence of Omkara. Bhuvana advadi rupena chintayet. Meditate on the universe through the six paths. Kramashaha akilam, step by step, resolving in the wholeness. Sthula sukshma parastitya, beyond the gross and the subtle. Yavadante manolayaha, the mind will reach a state of laya. As I said in the beginning, this sutra and also the sutras 54 to 58 are very deep and need deep contemplation over a prolonged period of time. There may be a need to listening to the sutra a few times to grasp. My inquiry and contemplation has been for years. The sutras are so deep and profound. Again, there are many sutras and sadhanas described in Vijñāna-Bhairava-Tantra. One sutra is sufficient to transcend. It depends upon how deep we are willing to go.